Father's Day, and and I of course thought about my dad. I think I have a picture of my dad in my office. I couldn't find it at my house. But the talk that we came up with is that we are spiritually magnificent, and we are. But oh, I know what I found. There's a couple of cool quotes I wanted to start out with, but there was also a cute joke. Jokes for Father's Day, and it was kind of hokey, but it's still cute. Okay, so let me find it. It's about fathers waiting for their children to be born. Okay, this was cute. 4 men are in the hospital waiting. Do I have this on? Oh, wait. Ta-da. Okay, there we go. 4 men are in the hospital waiting in the waiting room because their wives are having babies. A nurse goes up to the first guy and says, "Congratulations, you're the father of twins." "That's odd," replies the man. "I work for the Minnesota Twins." The nurse says to the second guy, "Congratulations, you're the father of triplets." "That's weird," answers the second man. "I work for the 3M company." A nurse tells the third man, "Congratulations, you're the father of quadruplets." "That's strange," he answers. "I work for the Four Seasons Hotel." The last man is groaning and banging his head against the wall. "What's wrong?" the others ask. "I work for the 7-Up company." Isn't that great? Oh my gosh, I love that. So anyway, as I was thinking, about the divine masculine, the divine energy, whether or not we had a father that we adored or we had a father that was kind of tough. My dad was kind of tough. But the one memory I do have is as he became older, our energies, we have masculine and feminine energy. We all know that, yes? And, as we get older, women start to embrace more of their masculine energy, and men start to embrace more of their feminine energy. How do you notice that as we age? And it's quite beautiful because we're becoming more balanced as we age. And it really does help us because then we're not stressing and striving so much. But one of my favorite stories about my dad is that when he made his transition, I would make him talk to me and make him hug me because I needed to get that healing. And any of you have parents that weren't that demonstrative? Yeah, okay? So I go up, "I need a hug." I think I was at Agape, and I said, "I need a hug, I gotta heal this. It's nothing to do with you, but you gotta hug me." So we do one of these, I call it the limp fish hug, and I said, "No, Dad, seriously, like a full-on bear hug." And so finally, he kind of did it halfway, and I go, "No, harder!" And so he finally did. And I felt so healed. I'll never forget the drive up there to go see them, and the drive back. I still get tears in my eyes because it was all me, but that gesture and standing up for that is so powerful for us. It really is. So I remember my mom and my dad fought all the time, but he was really an intelligent man, and he was a hard worker, and he did everything he could for the kids, even if he didn't manifest a lot of emotion. But he was definitely a great guy. And I know in that generation, they came from a hard time. And whether they came from Louisiana or whether they came from, a poor farm on Idaho, which was what he had. Here's the favorite story. Did your parents ever do this to you? "I used to walk through the snow with bare feet and rags on. We were so poor." That's my dad. Okay, that was constant. I go, okay. All right, we heard that a million times. Yes, we get it, Dad. Thank you so much for making our life easy and graceful. So anyway, I would talk to him, and I gave him a couple of spiritual books, and he actually read them. Whoa! So he read them, and then I would say, "So, what's your take on this?" And I think I gave him The Art of War. And that's a philosophy book if you haven't read it. And we discussed that. And my dad had Parkinsons, so eventually he ended up being more like a child. But when they were taking care of him, he finally had to surrender so much. My mom and my sister-in-law would give him a shower, and he's buck naked, okay? And he's giggling and laughing because what can he do? He's got to surrender up to these two women. And that's really what happened. And it was so beautiful to see him be in that joyful place because he was a rager, you know, prior to that. So I don't know if Spirit brought him that illness in order to have him become more, you know, just present. And he certainly was. But the night he died, or the morning he died, he came to me and he showed me, and I think I've shared this story before, but he showed me how the ancestors were all around him. He's in the bed, and when you have Parkinson's, he was like stiff, like this, his whole body. And he showed me jumping in and out of his body, like 50 times. I go, I got it, Pop, okay, really, I got it. No, you don't get it. I'm free, I'm free, I'm free at last. I'm like, okay. But our ancestors, and this is, they stand around and they're waiting for us because he wanted to give me that message. He came to my brother, because we're the two that are really open, because my brother used to astral project a lot. And, you know, he came to us and he showed us that he is happy, he is healthy, and he's more free. And that was really beautiful. But when we did the memorial for my dad, I did the memorial. My brothers were like, we don't want to do that because my dad wasn't nice to them. And I said, okay, regardless of that, we want to honor this person's life because we always want to honor a life. And it doesn't matter whether they're the most perfect, you know, amazing person on the planet, we honor their life. So I was meditating and I said, Dad, what song do you want? And he wanted the song from Johnny Cash, I Walk the Line. And that fit him so perfectly. So when we did that, it was a wonderful way to send him out. But, you know, he realized, I think, you know, once he made his transition, you know, Dr. Dream was talking about this, and this is, Plato also said this, that when we come into life, you know, we're our little soul, and we're, oh, I'm so excited, I can't wait to get to Earth again. And meantime, so we pick this life, oh, I'm going to have cancer. Yay, I get to experience that. Or I'm going to have an abusive dad. Or I'm going to have this, or I'm going to have that. Yay, I'm so excited because I get to expand. You know, so the soul up in heaven is going, yay. And when they get down there, like, oh, Lord, what did I pick? I mean, really. Because we forget what challenges we have picked in order to manifest here and incarnate in this world, right? And Plato said, so what we do, we'll pick a life, and then we drink of the river of forgetfulness in order for us to come down here. But there's a book by Neil Donald Walsh. It's called I think it's called The Little Soul, and he talked about how the one soul's talking to the other soul, and so like my little soul will be talking to Minda's soul, and now you're gonna be really mean to me, but it's gonna help me to be more loving. And are you up to it? And Minda's soul will go, okay, I'll do that for you. You know, so when you think about it, really, you know, we have individuals in our life that's their job. That maybe in heaven, there's all these little souls lined up, and they're saying, wow, I'm going to make you spiritually magnificent. But this is how you're going to have to experience it. And when you think back in your life and you think about all of the hardship or the circumstances, how do you feel after going through that experience? How do you feel about it now? I know you guys have an amazing story. How do you feel after going through that? How many years was it, Cynthia and Jim? 5?
5. Well, the health challenges my husband started, were going on.
Right.
And years after only a year after I got married.
Right.
And then all the medical bills, and it wasn't, you know, covered by health insurance.
But after all that,
yeah. So we're still healing, but I wouldn't trade it now because, you know, we grew and we have a great story of faith to tell, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We downsized to like 900 square foot house, and we're in a community, and
yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
so their story, They had to, she was practicing in every single class. She would come to every single class and she would practice, you know, these principles and practice and practice. And sometimes I was thinking about you guys driving up because I'm like, oh, it's taking so long for us to really get the center really opulent. And I'm going, oh, shut up. If you keep saying that, then you're going to have another 10 years. So really, you have to be aware of that because that's a perfect reading that we picked, is that, you know, what did he say? He said that it is, you know, if you don't want something undesirable, you know, then quit thinking about it and quit focusing on it. And focus on what you do want. So let's say you want more money in the bank, or let's say you want a relationship, or let's say you want divine health, or you want speaking gigs like Rick. So it is really anything that we desire, focusing on that. Because I'm looking at, sometimes we look at our bank account, this is a perfect example, and we're looking and going, oh, woo, ah. And then if we didn't do that, and we would say, wow, I wonder, what it would feel like to have $20,000 or $30,000 in my checking account right now. My checking account, not my savings, my checking account. Ooh, what does that feel like? And that feeling tone is going to create a whole different way of being than focusing on the negativity. And we're just, it's a bad habit. So there was an article, and it was talking about owning your personal power. Because if you want to be spiritually magnificent, we have to own our personal power. We have not been trained that way. We have a system in our education system that does not really address how to be powerful out in the world. It's about how to conform. You have to list all these, you know, multiplication tables. You know, you have to do this, and they make you memorize stuff, but they don't have you, and this is traditional school, not private. And so you don't have the ability to step into your creativity. You don't have the ability to tap into your intuition. And I don't know about you, but I walked out of school going, what? What am I going to do now? And I mean, maybe some of you know, I'm going to be a fireman, or I'm going to be a nurse. But a lot of people, because of the way our system is, it wasn't creating us to be spiritually magnificent. So there's a film we're going to show here, and it's about how to tap more into your intuition called, I can't understand. Insight. So Insight is the meaning of how to connect into your divine within. And in this film, it's showing how in England and some other areas, they're actually taking children and teaching them intuition. They're teaching them how to, instead of going in the outer world, going into the inner world. So the outer world, for example, one little boy, he played violent video games. And we all have seen those, right? Like, I don't know, some of them, and I'm like, I don't even know how they could play them. It's just in your consciousness. We all know whatever images we put in, they're going to stick in our consciousness, and that's going to become part of our psyche. So he was becoming more violent, and he was starting to play rough with the other kids. And the kids didn't understand that he was doing that because he was watching, you know, the car crash game or whatever it was. So they finally got him to a point where when he was feeling upset, like his brother upset him, then he would go inside and take a time out and take a moment and allow himself to feel that inner wisdom. And that changed him, because then when he was sitting there, they showed a clip of him with his brother, and his brother was making him mad, and he said, my brother just broke all my birthday toys. I had to go outside, and otherwise I would have done something mean to him. And he said, I went outside, I centered myself. Do you believe this? This is a kid like 10 years old. This is gorgeous. And then he went back in and he could deal with his brother again. So really what we do here at Center of the Heart is we teach you how to let go of the outer world, because it's all these things that are going to come in on us. And I've talked to my girlfriends and I've talked to so many people. How many of you feel the energy around us right now from what's going on in our world? Okay? And conversely, if we shift that, if we're able to go inside and we're able to take a moment, breathe, and take a walk, the class that we're doing, I had made a commitment. I was talking to Trish Janke, and remember she came and sang and did the talk, and she was saying, I just, I'm having some challenges, and I said, okay, so what can we do? I'll commit and you commit. Let's commit together. So we both committed to taking 5 minutes twice a day to go out in nature and connect. Because otherwise, the stuff that's being perpetrated on us, it's going to cause us not to feel happy, right? And so you chant, or you go in and do some quick meditation, or take a walk. What's gorgeous is that as you connect out in nature and you become awake and aware, you become more balanced and centered and grounded. And it takes 5 minutes, not even that, 2 minutes. Dr. Dream was talking about 1 minute. He said, go just plant your feet on the ground and just get that energy. There's a stand that we use in, it's called mountain pose in yoga. And you just stand and you just allow yourself to be supported by the Mother Earth. You could do that a couple times a day. It doesn't take that much. Because as we do that, we become spiritually magnificent because we allow that divine wisdom to come through us, which allows us to then move through our lives. So if something challenges comes along, you go, oh, I know that. So I had, I was saying, I have this, I need to create more cash flow at the center, blah. So my girlfriend calls me this morning and said, and I said, oh, wow. That was a nice conversation. And during the conversation, I didn't even say that to her. I said, yeah, we're looking at some other things. She goes, you know what? You could try this. And I go, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. And how about that? Oh, I forgot about that. So Spirit's always going to give you the little nudges and the wisdom in order for us to enhance and to expand our life. But we have to hear it. It's going to come from maybe a crow on a tree. I get that all the time. I'm thinking a thought, and I'm walking by, and I'll think, I wonder if that's good. And the crow will go, caw, caw. I'm like, oh, thank you. And we did it. It happened on Sunday. So I was just starting to pray, and we were just going to go take the walk. Remember, Dad's going, yeah. And all of a sudden, all these crows, and they were like so happy we were outside communing with them. Another part of that film that I really loved was about how the indigenous people, they had no compasses, they had nothing, but they could navigate, and they could, I think it was the people in Hawaii, the Tahitians, they could navigate the seas, and they never got lost because they followed the energy and nature. And they could chart to different islands without anything, except their intuition. Isn't that miraculous? And maybe we'll have to make this a book of the month again. Miladama Pedris Somé, you know who he is? Okay, he's an African Sagoma healer. And what I love about his story, and it really ties into Father's Day, is that he was raised in a tribe in Africa. And he was taken and literally kidnapped by the French priests, the Catholic French priests. And they took him and they would not allow him to be with his village. And this is a true story. And so eventually his father and his grandfather, the whole story is amazing, but his grandfather, when he died, they tried to put him in the hospital, and his body, his physical body, energetically, after he died, walked back to the village. Okay? This is a true story. This is some of the stuff that you'll go, no, that's impossible. That's what Art says. Whenever I say, hey, this happened, that's impossible. I go, I have evidence and proof. I don't care, it's impossible. And that's kind of how we are, because we don't believe that there's this magnificence and that there's these things in the world that we can't address at all. So eventually what happened is I think at this point in like equivalent to high school, and finally his parents and his ancestors in the village, we got to get this guy back because he's going to totally lose himself in the Western culture, and that's not a good thing. So he was getting this message about how he could, and he was, I think, hundreds and hundreds of miles away from his village. And they kept doing ritual, and they would, I would be our equivalent of praying, ritual, and he was guided back, and he's going, oh my gosh, I have to get back to my village. And he was guided back to his village. Took him forever, but every point on the journey he was taken care of, and he made it back to the village. So the part that is, I still get goosebumps from this, is that he never went through his initiation, and they were supposed to do it at, like, I don't know, age 15, I guess, or whatever age, or maybe 13, I'm not sure. But he was at this point, I think he was like 17, 18, but it was like 3 or 4 years after he was supposed to do this initiation. Why I love this book is that it helps us to realize there's so many other dimensions and that we can tap into it. So he talks about 5 or 6 of the initiation rites that he had to go through. Holy cannoli! I'm talking hair-raising, and some of the young men died during them. And it wasn't that they were running a gauntlet with knives. That's not what was going on. There was one ritual where one initiation where there is a skin, animal skin, and there's a hole in it. And that skin represented the portal to another realm. Now when you read this, you're, no, that's not possible. They had to jump through it and then hang on to these etheric wires, and if they didn't catch them, they would be falling and falling, falling for eternity. Okay? So some of these young men never came back from that dimension. So he talks about at some point, they said, okay, now at some point, you've got to, when you hear this, I think it was a toning or a sound, you've got to jump back into this realm. And as he was jumping back into the realm, because of the different energetic vibration, he actually caught on fire and got burnt, and he had to roll on the ground to put himself out. To this day, he still has burn marks on his body, and you can see it because he teaches 3-day men retreats. He's here, you know, I think in the United States. But he's such a sweet guy, and the only reason I remember him, he's in that film. Yeah, so he's fantastic. But he really, you know, his job is to have us reminded that there's more than this physical world. And Ernest Holmes tried to talk about it. Even he didn't get it until the end of his life when he was, I can't remember where it was, I think someplace in Whittier, or maybe it was downtown LA, and he was giving a talk, and during the talk, a realm opened up in front of him. And he said, oh my gosh, I can see into the other dimensions. I can't talk anymore. And he got off the podium and left because he was just given this beautiful vision, and he had to go be present with it. So that's how spiritually magnificent we are. But we have to believe it, and we have to be awake and aware and really allow ourselves to feel that and allow that to come in. And I know I was being present to this. You know, I gave Roxy and I talked about the title on Friday. Yeah. And all of a sudden, all these things started coming and blossoming into my life. And I know that as you go out today, you know, there's going to be something that's going to open up for you. So if you have something, and I'm just going to have you just say it out loud and share it for a moment. Is there something, it's to become powerful. It's not about, you know, having armies and war and all that. That's not owning your personal power. Owning your personal power is allowing yourself to be authentic and real. Owning your personal power. I remember I came back from MITT and Roxy goes, damn, Rev, you're not putting up with anything anymore. And because it's not about being mean. It's about standing your ground, about putting up a boundary, but it's also about owning that I am worthy of this. I am worthy of having this experience. I am not going to have somebody say something to me and accept it. I am going to allow myself to embrace my fullness of who I am. That's being spiritually magnificent. So Roxy and I were at Dr. Dream's event. Who's at Dr. Dream's with us? Oh, Lord have mercy. Dr. Dream was dreamy. So anyway, Dr. Dream and his band of angels will be back in December. No, November. We put them in November. But what they did, you know, he was doing all the chakras. So, of course, Roxy, we were like, oh, we got to get a bowl, a healing bowl. And so, what did we pick, Roxy?
We picked the solar plexus.
Which is
about
personal, self-love, personal power.
Yes,
it really is. So, I'm going to have, who wants to be the bowl, go gong people a little bit? Somebody want to take my bowl and gong them? Come on, Denise. Come on down, girl. So she's going to run around, and while I'm continuing my talk, this will be great. So I want you to be present to where are you not owning your spiritual power? Where do you give in? Where do you not allow yourself to say your truth? Where are you not authentic? Where are you not stepping up? Because in those words that George was saying, he says, he was always there by me, so I would be unafraid and free. He was always standing by me. And that's spirit. So the words that George was talking about and singing about is that he was always standing by me, so I would be unafraid and free. If we embrace that quality and allow the divine, so we're going through something, you know what, Spirit, I'm going to surrender this up so I can be unafraid and free. And that really is our task and our journey. It's about having trust, it's about having faith, and Denise is going to do your solar plexus. I'm claiming my personal power. So whatever it is that's not working in your life, it's a bad habit. Allow it, as she's playing to you, to release it, because it's already released. We've already talked about it. And as that's happening for you, embrace the new reality. What new reality do you want? Do you want to have more work in your life? Do you want to have better connected relationships? Do you want to have better health? What is it that you're holding on to that's not serving you that you can release and open up your personal power? Because it's all about making a choice. It's all about shifting into what we desire rather than what we don't desire. So as we do that, be present to that. Allow yourself to feel the shift. Allow yourself to let go of the old and embrace the new. Because there is always God's blessings in our life. There is always God's grace. We just forget about it because, oh, that's just not possible. We think that, but it's all possible. And as we allow, as we shed our skin, as we awaken, as we fight our way out of the cocoon that's been built around us, because what we have been around in society, we have a webbing that's been put over us, we have a cocoon, we have, as I love that, Keith, the snake skin, and we come out of it. And I want that image right now. So right now, be awake and become new. And push yourself out of, maybe it's a brick wall, maybe it's a webbing, maybe it's a cocoon. Push yourself out of that and become new. Become powerful. Embrace the love of who you are. And embrace yourself. So feel that. Feel the energy right now in the room as everybody's doing that. So awaken, be aware of it. Allow yourself to be free. Allow yourself to be supported by the Divine Father, Mother, God. And allow yourself to awaken to the spiritual magnificence of who you are. Feel it and feel the love coming into your heart. Healing whatever has been in the past, let it go. Let it go. You're now embraced by the divine essence of God. You're embraced by the purity of spirit. You are embraced by the love of the Holy Creator. And that's who we are. That's the truth. So let's just take a moment, feel it as Denise is coming around, blessing, anointing, healing. I feel love for myself. I feel my own personal power, which means that I am clear about who I am. And I am vulnerable, meaning I am in my magnificence. I am in my strength. For as I am able to be present to who I am and the gifts that I have, I know that my life shifts in the most magnificent and beautiful way. Okay, so how y'all feel? Good? I know that. Did you feel the energy in this room? Woohoo! All right, God is good all the time. It's beautiful. Okay, so take that. I want you to take that image. And when you feel like there's an issue in your life, when you feel like everything is encroaching on you, allow yourself to push through the veils. Allow yourself to open. And thank you, Denise. I accept it. I believe it. It's good.
That's someone good for Denise.
Yeah.
I did it myself.
Yeah.
Actually, I probably got it from all of
I
you.
know. As you give a session, you get a session. You know, it's great. All right, beloved ones. So, did you get it today? You receive it? You got it? All right. Beautiful. So I'm going to close with a few quotes from people about their dads. One of them was, when I was a boy of 14, my father was so ignorant I could hardly stand to have the old man around. But when I got to be 21, I was astonished at how much he had learned in 7 years. Mark Twain. Mark Twain. I know, isn't that cute? And then there's two more. This is from Eddie Lamar. I am not ashamed to say that no man I ever met was my father's equal, and I never loved any man as much. Eddie Lamar. Beautiful. Oh, wait. Rodney Dangerfield. I remember the time I was kidnapped and they sent a piece of my finger to my father. He said he wanted more proof. Okay, that was good. Okay, that's it. I'll end on that. Okay, so thank you, beloveds, and just embrace your divine essence, embrace who you are, and mwah, love you madly.